Kind of Aramaic greeting to you, Amataweld. Probably still not saying correctly. I don't know. Salam, shalom. Whatever way that you want peace to come into your life, I wish that upon you. Okay? Look, sometimes I have better looking produce, but I'm going to be honest with you. In the world of Masky Mask and the very disappointing thing with Instacart, and I could have went out. I could have went out in the last few days, but I've had a few days off because with the Thanksgiving holiday would combine with just regular days off. I just haven't felt like going out to go shopping. Like I know I could have had like better looking produce. So my produce is looking, it's okay. It's not bad. But I'm actually, you know what? I feel good about it, and I'll tell you why. Because I want to eat down my fridge. You know, I don't want to have produce go bad in my fridge. And I actually feel good this time because I know that I'm actually eating the produce in my fridge, even if it's not at its peak of beauty. Because that used to be my thing. I'd always be like, oh my gosh, I have to buy produce when it's at its peak of beauty. And then I wouldn't always get around to eating it because I'd have way too much food in my fridge. And I know some people are like, since COVID, they think you should shop for a week's worth of groceries. But I kind of disagree with that because, like, when it comes to produce, I feel like every other day, like, you want to go get fresh produce. And I still went to the supermarket and I didn't change that part of my shopping during COVID because it wasn't like magically somebody was going to take me shopping, you know? Yeah, and another thing is like I could go out, but I'm just like, ugh, like I just didn't feel like going out because I'll be back to work tomorrow and I can go out for 5 days in a row after that. And I've been doing some things like with my channels, both of my channels, trying to, you know, make some more videos and whatnot, some new content. But I hope you're feeling well and doing well. Yeah, so I'm gonna make like a hummus salad. I don't have any chickpeas, but I have like some. I think I'm just gonna try adding the pure sesame seed oil. I have this Japanese variety. It might be interesting. We'll see. We shall see how it goes. Just make a really simple salad because I want to use this stuff up. I actually made a parsley salad. That probably sounds disgusting to some people, but it was okay. I would not recommend making a parsley salad to you people who probably are very, like, certain flavors would be overpowering, but I wanted to use up the parsley and I literally just ate it as a salad. I think I need some little fluffy cloths to kind of wipe down the counter after my wet lettuce adventure. I still have some tomatoes from Sprouts. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope like that's good though. You're going well, so I hope you feel better, And I'm glad that you're doing good. Very good. I've noticed some people, they had to go through the isolation thing and it's just a long time, right? Sucks, kind of. Feels like your life is on hold. The whole thing, like, I'm not going to pretend like it's all great. I know some people keep saying, like, if you do this and this, but here's the thing, we don't know. Like, they just said there's a new variant. Like, so I just think it's kind of mean. Like I've heard some people say, well, if you got vaccinated, this wouldn't happen to you. But I knew people, okay, that were vaccinated and they still got, they still got it. So it can happen. Like, anyway, or people that didn't. So it's just been an interesting era. And like, I'm so over like people, like all the politicalization over a pathogen, over a virus, and how, like, just it's been so. Oh yeah, I'm vaccinated too. That's good. See, that's what I'm telling you. I knew people that said they were vaccinated and they still got it. So we do have to keep that in mind. Like, when people say that's happened, like some people said, like I've had some people say that didn't happen, but I've talked to people since the beginning when they were rolling out the vaccines. There was actually a nurse that she posted on Facebook, okay, that she had not got it during the beginning, but then after she got vaccinated, she'd been exposed at work. So it's just I'm not going to pretend like everything's great about this new era, but I don't. I mean, we can only go forward. We can't go in the back in the past. But yeah, it's just interesting. Like, so when people say that this is the answer, I feel like that's just so rude to like people who like are going through things. Like, you don't even know. Like, I feel like some of the people that keep saying like, oh, because they got vaccinated and they're going to help everybody in the community and they're not going to spread it. It just seems really like cruel, because you don't know what could happen to you or your family or somebody you know. And if you pretend that people don't get the breakthrough infection, that's kind of not true, you know? I wish people would stop like saying like, oh, well, if you just, I know there were some news outlets that said nobody got breakthrough infections, but if you believe that, it's not true. I'm doing good. How are you? But, you know, beyond that, I'm so tired of the whole political thing. And like right now in my country, like in the US, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in the US, like it's used to determine like who's the good people and who's the bad people. And I'm just like, it's just gotten out of hand. And I just don't think that's how we should be. Like back during the Spanish influenza, people didn't do that. Like I mean, they did in other ways. They might shame people who got the influenza, but the political, well, let me give you an example. You know, maybe this will, I don't know. I hope, like, I don't really care what anybody thinks at this point. So I sometimes look at TikTok and I know some people are like, oh my God, TikTok. But it's interesting because there's some things on TikTok, like my sister kind of opened my eyes to, like people just sharing their stories in the health care field. So there's this woman, she's a nurse, okay? And she was vaccinated. She got her vaccine. And well, what happened to her was she didn't get a breakthrough infection, but when she got her booster, she had a really bad reaction where it impaired her speech for a couple weeks. And then later, I guess she was saying her doctor said it might have been because of some medication she was on. But it's like she wasn't even allowed to share that experience because people said she was anti-vaccine, which was ridiculous because first off, I mean, I still believe like you need to make those medical choices for yourself. Like I've never been in the camp where I want to force everybody to do it. I just don't like, it feels kind of weird like that people want to do that. Yeah, I think everything in America is just loud and brash. It's just how it is here. People kind of like it. I mean, similar to Australia, more brash politics. I guess I don't like it. Like I don't like loud and brash, so it's always been kind of like, oh, like yeah, just what if you don't want to be on either side of this and you don't want to be fighting about like something that should just be a medical discussion, not like a political debate. Like it's just it was another thing that I hate to say it, it's divide and conquer politics once again. Like if two like but then behind closed doors, these people that are creating these debates and fights, like remember how Hillary Clinton went to Donald Trump's wedding? Does anybody remember that? Do you remember that, anybody? Like, oh, and how Donald Trump gave some money to Hillary Clinton's Senate campaign? Oh, I guess nobody remembers. I don't know. It's just like all the people that fight over this. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, this woman, like she'd been vaccinated, okay, fully vaccinated. All she was saying was she felt like she may have had some adverse, you know, effects from the vaccine, from the booster. And some people have, but people were like chanting on her TikTok, like, and they were saying things to her, saying that she was wrong and she was anti-vax, even though, like, hello, she's actually getting on TikTok telling you, I got the vaccine. I just have some concerns. It's almost like nobody's allowed to express their opinion anymore. You know, it's just weird, but it's just very political and it's always something so people can be, I don't know, fighting with each other, keeping us divided. Divide and conquer politics are older than the Roman Empire, but the Roman Empire specialized in it very well. They definitely did. They specialized in it. So, yeah. I just don't have time to want to get, like like, this is the thing that I get so tired of. Like, honestly, like, I don't care if it's MSNBC or Fox News or CNN. How can people watch that all day on a loop? Like, seriously, I've tried to talk to my mom about it. I'm like, they play the same thing over and over again on a loop, whichever network news that you're watching. And all of them exaggerate to some degree because, hello, it's called viewership. Like any program, they want more viewership because, oh, if you stay on the channel longer, what are you going to be watching? Oh, the ads, and you're going to buy things they advertise. Like, there's a reason behind like viewership, or just they're going to be ranked as a higher watched streamed program, whatever it is. I don't understand. Like, I used to watch CNN. CNN used to actually be pretty good. Like, they weren't the like best journalism in the world, but they used to be pretty good. But I would say in the last decade, they just became very like political. But they started out as being like an independent news agency on like cable that had like kind of, I don't know, they didn't look as sophisticated as the network news, and they used to send their journalists out into the, like, it used to be a little bit more just like journalism around the world, but now it's just like, I'm sitting in this office and it doesn't matter which news agency you're in, like, you're getting everybody to be like, oh, your neighbor, they're bad people, but we're good people. They're bad people, but we're good people. And it's just like, it's so ridiculous, I'm just going to make hummus today with chickpeas. I don't have everything that I want to make it exactly the way I usually would, because like I said, this is kind of scanty shopping times, because I should have went out to get better stuff to put in it. Like in the past when I've made it really like all out. So I should have kept up the cutting board. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is make sure Mr. secured on here really well. I'm going to open my can of chickpeas. So I had heard a hack, like somebody said in this one cookbook, which I don't know, it was the Jerusalem cookbook, that said if you microwave the chickpeas that they're supposed to make better and creamier hummus. I wonder if that's true. Have I ever tried it? Nope, but I'm going to try it right now. I'm wondering if that's true. Maybe. I mean, I don't know how it would affect the texture, but we're going to try it. Or I'm going to try it. So this canned chickpeas, or if you don't make fresh ones, this one was actually pretty good. Because why? Like, a lot of the chickpeas in the U.S. have calcium chloride in them for some reason. I don't know why. But when they canned, this one was just chickpeas, like chickpeas and salt and water. But some of them have calcium chloride, and I'm just like, I get tired of them putting calcium chloride in beans. And why is it that you can find black beans without calcium chloride? But for some reason, if you don't make beans from scratch, and I really should, like, look, if I was up on my game, I'd be doing that. In my foodie days, like, I can be a foodie, and sometimes I used to cook very elaborately, as you can see in former videos on this channel, and I need to get back into it. No excuses. I would make the beans from scratch, and I would do all that good stuff, like from scratch. But if you're going to do the canned chickpeas, I mean, the ones without the calcium chloride is probably better. That's what I was wondering. Like, they said they thought that it would make them better. Like, I was wondering. So I did it for a minute. It might dry them out. We'll see. I was like, what? Why? I don't know. They said they thought it was a technique to make the chickpeas creamier. I don't even have tahini today, though, because I didn't go out and buy it. And the only place I really can find tahini is at that Lebanese market. And I didn't even go to Walmart. So I'm going to put some sesame seed oil. I'm not saying this is authentic hummus, guys. I'm just making it like with what I have. So I'm going to put a whole bunch of sesame seed oil in here. This bottle is horrible. Okay. Let's just keep going. Okay, so what else? Oh yeah, I have some peppers from my mom's garden that were dried out that she used to hang on little stringy strings. Yeah, that's why I try to find things that don't have the preservatives and the additives in them. It's really hard. Like, but you have to look for certain brands. Like this one right here. This one is the CW brand. They don't have anything. It's just garbanzo beans. So I like that brand. And yeah, sometimes it's tricky like to find things that don't have weird preservatives in them. So I'm going to take, like, these are just dried peppers that my mom had grown in her garden. I need to use them up so I can get rid of that jar. I've had it for a while. There we go. We'll use it all up. Okay, so I have that. I have some, putting like some random things in it because I'm just kind of interested in the mood. And I have some like dried rosemary that I've had from my mom's garden. And I think I'm going to put some of that in. I know rosemary doesn't usually go in hummus, but I like rosemary, okay? I love it. We actually have up the street, like there's one in town, there's a Lebanese market, and then there's another one in like another city that it's like 10 miles away, and that one's really good actually. Okay, right away I know what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to tamp it down. And I was gonna save the tomatoes for the salad, but I think I'm gonna put one tomato in with it to just puree it better. I need to buy some tahini. It would be a lot better with tahini. Have the $500 vitamins. So what I do, like these oyster blenders are pretty good. This was a $40 blender. Actually, it's gone up to $80. Inflation, like really? Are you kidding me? Like the same blender that used to be like, well, I think the only difference is now they have a special attachment added to it. I'm like, I'm sorry, but there's no blender that is worth. I think I'm gonna make it very tomatoey. Did I say this was traditional hummus? No. Was it just like when I used to make hummus? I would just throw random things, and that's what I would do. So, like, if somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, that's not what hummus is," I don't know. I didn't claim it was 100% authentic hummus. I'm just saying, I would usually use like chickpeas, garbanzo beans. No, same thing. A little bit of sesame seeds. I didn't have sesame seeds, so I used the jasmine. It's still not really pureeing yet, so I want to anyhow. So yeah, I just take the little spatula and I keep like tamping it down. I will tamp down on all sides. Make sure the lid's on. And I want to cut up some tomatoes to go on the top of the salads. I finally got rid of that container and I can throw that one away. Oh, that's cool. Indian butter and chili. I've never done that. Like, what have I done? I've just done tahini. I've done chickpeas, garbanzo beans. Did I use up all of that oil? Let's see. I don't think I used all the oil. Maybe I'll add a little bit more of this. It's really hard to get out. The sesame seed oil that I have. It's really good. Tahini, spice, chickpea. I would put. I think I already have a lot of herbs in there with the rosemary and the pepper. It's pretty spicy. Sit for a minute. And I'll cut up the tomato with Mr. Spatula. You'll rinse. Sounds good though. And then, if you guys want to bath, sit in the sink and drain out while I do that. And then I'll just cut you up as a cute little tomato. So tomorrow I definitely need to buy some more veggies because I think I'm at the end of the line. I think I have some asparagus and potatoes left in the fridge. So I've just been waiting way out. And when I went to my sister's house for Thanksgiving, I didn't even have to go shopping because she went ahead of the game. And then I came back on Friday and I've done videos for my channel. And I'm just like, I have like literally like, besides those 2 days when I was there for the Thanksgiving holiday, I'm off so many days because, you know, a lot of places closed. Not everybody closed, but we were lucky enough that we're closed. Like a lot of people that work retail, they had to work Black Friday. I did not. I don't know if anybody knows this, but I think people already know this. I'm just going to kind of share it just once again. Did you know there's really no sales on Black Friday anymore? Like there may have been back in the day, maybe, but I still think I'll have to look into this a little bit more. I still think it's a little bit of a marketing hype, to be honest with you. I think it's a little bit of marketing hype. There's actually like very few. Yeah, I have some tomatoes on my salad, but man, I want more. I want more tomato. So yeah, so basically, I mean, I'm gonna look into it more, but nowadays there's very few sales. And okay, I decided just for fun, with inflation. I ate like vegetarian. Like my sister does do turkey, but what I did like a vegan gravy, and the mashed potatoes didn't have any like dairy in them. And then the stuffing, she doesn't put it in a turkey, like we just baked it. And then she made cranberry sauce. So I just ate like sides, but they ate turkey. I didn't eat turkey, you know, so like that's what we do. And we never did like, you know, some people do green bean casserole. I didn't even know what that was until I was an adult because we never made that. Like some years because my mom, like, even though I kind of rebelled, I'm like, I want to eat chicken and turkey. My mom didn't really eat turkey at all. Like she was vegetarian. Like she just would make it because it was something that my dad wanted, like when we were little. And the kids, my other, like we would want that because he said it was great. And like she never ate it. And then like some years she just made enchiladas for Christmas. She made like tofu cutlet one Christmas. She made like this lentil pat, like a lentil loaf, like with a gravy. So there's a lot of different ways you can do vegetarian Christmas. There are some sales online, but I was going to talk about Amazon. Like, I don't know about the UK. Here in the US, like things I bought last year are almost $100 more. That I bought it on the same time last year, like the Soda Stream. I decided I'm going to get a canister for the Soda Stream and see if maybe it was just bad canisters I got, because I was really disappointed that both canisters only lasted like a week, which to me was just silly. Like, I think it should last longer than a week. Really? 1 week? That just seems a little a little too, like, not long enough, And, oh boy. Then, yeah, I just felt like it should have lasted longer than 1 week. But that's just my take on it. Like, maybe they only last a week. I just thought, like, because I really love sparkly water, I calculated the cost back when I first got the SodaStream with the canisters, and it didn't really seem to work out. So I've decided to try it one more time because I have the SodaStream and it's sitting in my kitchen, and yeah, I feel kind of like, oh, I don't want it to be a complete dud. So I ordered 2 canisters over Black Friday. I didn't find any deals on Amazon for them unless they were pre-owned. And that SodaStream unit that I bought a year ago, which was like about $100, is now $219 on Amazon in 1 year. I don't know. Inflation is just going up a lot. And I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think the prices we see in California are a little bit higher than what you guys see in other states, maybe, or other countries. I don't know. It just seemed like it went up a lot. And even some clothes, like I looked to see like some dresses I bought on Amazon. Like the prices had gone up by $10 to $15 per unit. I thought that was interesting. So I'm sure there are some sales out there. It's just from my experience, they weren't really on Amazon this season, which is problematic to me because Amazon's one of the big supply chains that got promoted during the pandemic. So that's a little concerning. So yes, there is inflation in the US, especially in California. And yeah, that's not helping the economy, but another thing too, a lot of places are hiring, but this is what we found out because somebody said his son was applying to a lot of places, so they were hiring, but they only wanted to give people like 10 hours a week, okay? That was all they wanted to give them. And then they would spread them thin. So a lot of restaurants had people walk out and quit because they were basically, instead of just at least giving them a 25 to 30 hour shift per week like they used to, restaurants used to do that. For some reason now they're hiring more people but giving them fewer hours, and then having like fewer people run a store than they should. And I think that's why a lot of people are quitting from what we've been hearing anyway, because they just feel too overworked. And I have seen this, like some restaurants will literally say, we don't have enough staff, so we're going to close an hour early. It's been happening more. Anyway, those are just things I've seen and heard locally. There's other reasons worldwide, I'm sure. But yeah, it was an interesting little hummus salad. I really like it with actual tahini, which I think is better than pureeing the chickpeas, because when you buy like really good quality tahini, it's mixed really well. And it's just really creamy. So yeah, sesame seed oil does not do the same thing. It just doesn't. It's okay. It's not bad. It's a salad. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say right now about things going on stateside. I don't want to complain about inflation and all that stuff. I'm just like, it's what it is these days. You can't really change it. I did notice though. Okay, I talked about this on a live stream I did with Aya on her channel on Sunday when we did an art project. And I kind of want to talk about it just briefly. It's about the whole, and I talked about it in another video. Look, I get it. Like sometimes there are things that people see on social media that they don't like. But I still think at the end of the day, if you don't like something, you have the power in yourself to just not look at it, or to pick a different topic, or to limit how much you look at it. I don't think, okay, because I know people are like, oh my gosh, like social media, it's like making us like like we're just becoming robots and we just scroll and scan all day. But I look at it, but I don't do that. I don't do that. Like, I don't understand. And I will say, like, when I first started using TikTok, it was hard to find better content. But when you start searching it out, like, your feed becomes better over time. And you don't have to look at TikTok and you don't have to look at Instagram. But I don't think that it's an app's fault that there's questionable content on there. It's the people posting that content. And at the end of the day, I think we have to take some ownership for things we look at. Because when I was younger, my mom didn't subscribe to like all the fashion magazines like Vogue and 17 and all that stuff. In fact, I was an adult before I first looked at those magazines. And I think I looked at them out of curiosity because it was something we never had in our house. And after I read a few articles, it just felt so weird and ditzy. Not that I'm trying to hate on those magazines, but just like the weird advice they would give people and how, like, the kind of style, like, it just never, none of it ever, like, I didn't identify with any of it. So I just didn't feel like, oh my God, like, I'm going to feel bad because of the magazine. I kind of just thought, oh my gosh, like, some of the things that they tell you, like, basically we were talking about how in one magazine had given a woman advice, like, to put a love note on a guy's car, which is just weird. Like, what the heck? And just weird things, like, they would, and just some of the fashion advice. And I just never felt like, I don't know, I never felt like, oh my God, I feel bad about myself because of an airbrush magazine. Is that weird that I didn't feel that way? That a magazine didn't make me feel that way? Same with movies. Like, I would watch movies growing up, and I watch fewer movies nowadays just because, I don't know, there's not that many that entertain me anymore. I never felt bad about myself because of how a celebrity looks in a movie or on the red carpet. I always knew, like, yeah, they have trainers, they have all these different things, and I didn't really want to look like them either. Is that weird? I don't know. I just don't understand, like, why people are so upset about, like, because, okay, a lot of the arguments people have against social media right now are the same arguments if you go back just about 2 decades or even 15 years that they used to have about, like, magazines or like shows on TV. And then if you go farther back, like that article I shared in one live stream, like the telephone, like they thought that the telephone was going to ruin society and civilization. So from a socialization standpoint, I don't think an app is going to ruin your social skills. There are good 90s movies, like I like them, but here's the thing, like some people are like, oh my God, like the women in the some of the women in the movies look anorexic and they make us feel bad about them for ourselves. No, I just want to read things in a magazine and I'd be like, that's ridiculous. Like when Renee Zellweger was putting on weight, like to play Bridget Jones, and how she like gained weight by just drinking a giant coffee. I was just like, that's not healthy. I was like, okay, I just thought it was weird. I thought that was stupid. And I was just like, oh, okay, here we go. I'm not saying that these things can't trigger people. I guess what I'm trying to convey is these things didn't trigger me. So when I would read things like that, and I didn't even really look at the magazines until I was an adult. I think a lot of it has to do with, I don't know, my parents, we just didn't have that sort of thing in our house. So I looked at it as an adult. I thought it was kind of a waste of money and not something I wanted to pay for. And I'm not that excited about celebrities. I'm just not, like, I guess a lot of people follow a lot of celebrities. I follow like maybe 2. Like I did a video about this one actor that I liked, but I thought she was kind of cool because she's kind of quirky and different. And that's kind of why I like her, not because she's like the standard celebrity. So I don't really get this, like, oh my gosh, like social media makes me feel bad about myself. I think at the end of the day, I do get that. I'm not trying to invalidate somebody's experience if that's been people's experience. Not trying to invalidate that. But at the end of the day, we are in control of our thoughts and feelings and how we use our time. And we should be able to separate reality from fantasy. So sometimes when people are like, oh my gosh, media makes me feel bad about myself, I just always thought, well, just turn it off. Don't look at it. Yeah, I think you have a more balanced attitude about it. And I mean, I'm not friends with celebrities, but let me put it this way, like there were a few that lived where I grew up in the San Bernardino Mountains when I was a kid. We saw some of them at the store. So I don't know. They had money. That's great. But I didn't even really think that their lives were that exciting because, I mean, have you looked at like how Marlon Brando was really messed up? Like some of them have really sad, tragic lives. Like a lot of people that are drawn to the arts have issues. So I feel like, I don't know. I didn't feel like, oh my God, they make me feel bad about myself or I want to aspire to be that. I just don't really understand. But I guess I'm just out of the loop on that one. So I don't want to invalidate people's experience. Apparently, social media makes people feel bad about themselves. But I just always used to look at pretty nature pictures or art or genealogy or hair. Like when I would look at long hair, I actually would kind of laugh at some of the more silly long hair posts. I'm like, hello, they're just doing that like for like it's an arty thing. It's not like that's real life. Just like when there's these guys that come on my channel and they think like women wear their hair flowing everywhere. They're like, I only like hair where it flows everywhere. And I'm like, really? Really? Okay. So like, let's say we were making hummus. Like, do you want my hair flowing in the hummus? Like, do you want somebody to go to a restaurant and their hair's flowing all over? I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, I think they know like that's not reality. Like there's a difference between reality and fantasy. So I think some things we see on social media, magazines, television, that is a form of art, okay? It's performance art, it can be visual art. That's not reality. Like we can differentiate between reality and fantasy. So I guess the reason at the end of the day it never made me feel bad about myself is because it's art. It's not real life. I love braids too. Like braids are the best. And I saw your braids. They're very cool. Like maybe people should like braids more. Like I don't even understand like why loose hair is like so exciting. Like I like the look of it once in a while, like when I'm combing my hair, but I don't know. I just always thought it would be really obnoxious. Like one day I wore my hair loose like a few years ago and I found it very annoying because like it would go everywhere and I didn't like that. I don't like that. And then you have tangles and I don't like dealing with any of that. But apparently some people really enjoy that look. So I don't know, they do that style. But then, I don't know, to me, it just seems like you're going to have to comb your hair more, wash your hair more, do a lot of more things with your hair than if it's just in braids and you contain it. But also, too, I don't have straight hair. I have wavy hair. So I feel like it's just not practical for me. But, some people really like that look. I just always thought braids were pretty. So that's where I stand. And I enjoy sharing on my other channel, long hair, the way I do it. And sometimes I'll make an edited video. Sometimes I'll do a live stream. Sometimes I'll do a short video. I do whatever I feel like doing. I'm not following a formula. I'm not like, oh, this is the formula I'm going to follow. I know like a lot of people on social media and good for them. Like I actually am like, if marketing's your background and you get it to 1 million subscribers in 1 year, that's amazing. Good for you. But I don't think that's reality for most of us, just saying. But it doesn't make me feel bad about myself either. Yeah, I don't like extensions. And the reason too is because I feel like it's a form of slavery because we know that women either in India are donating that hair to a temple thinking that they're doing a good deed. And then the temple makes a little bit of money off of it. But then you have these rich white men that run corporations who are flying helicopters and nobody wants to call them out. Nobody wants to call them out for some reason. Like they'll do a softball hit piece on them. Like, oh, like, look at these guys. They're flying a helicopter. And this woman in India didn't get paid. And they interviewed one woman who said, oh, if my hair looks beautiful on a celebrity like that, I'm okay with donating it. Well, she might have been, but I don't know if everybody would have been. Like, it feels weird. And then in China, like a lot of people, like a lot of women, there's these videos. And that's why I kind of hate the cutting fetish guys because they're nasty. They really are. Like they lure women to hotel rooms and they chop off their hair and they post videos about that crap. Okay. I don't like that. There's stuff like that on YouTube. And I'm like, How whacked is that? So like, no, I don't like hair extensions at all. Like I don't like it. Like personally, just wear your own hair. Like, and every ethnicity can grow their hair long. So I don't even want to hear about how some ethnicities can't grow their hair long, because that's not true. Like I have talked to people recently from many different ethnicities have very long hair. It's just how you take care of your hair. Now, if you want to look like a cartoon character and use a whole bunch of extensions to have an inordinately thick mane of hair, which is not realistic, then yeah, you're not going to achieve that look with your natural hair. But that's common sense, you know? And if people really want to, like, I don't, this is another thing too. There are synthetic wigs nowadays. So, like, if you really want to, I don't know, like, personally, I have no desire to wear a synthetic wig, but if they really, really wanted to, like, play around with their hair and their looks that much, just go buy a synthetic wig. Like, you can find pretty realistic looking ones and do that. Like, I don't think we need to be predatory, but nobody's calling out the hair extension industry and how it's a form of slavery. Nobody says that. I feel like, and even like, okay, I'll take it farther. I don't care what anybody says about this. I'm going to be legit honest about it. Like, you know how you have these hair donation industry scam? Because guess what? A lot of them will donate the hair that they say is not usable for a wig to hair extension companies to make a profit, to help keep running their agency. So even if you donated your hair, let's say it wasn't like usable by that whatever organization you gave it to, there's a chance they sold it to a hair extension agency, because you're right, like the rich people or people who can afford the extensions, like they just buy this stuff like it's candy, like because the set of extensions might last them a month or something. They're not going to take care of them. They just want that look. Yeah, it takes longer for sure. I'm not saying it doesn't take longer, but I've seen like women that are of African descent who have really, really long hair. And I know certain ethnicities that grow slower, that I totally get. But like when some people say some people can't grow their hair, I've had people that were white tell me that they can't grow their hair. So sometimes, like, even if I don't know, like I've heard people from different like ethnicities that people say their hair grows faster, say that their hair actually grows slower. So it might be the way they're treating their hair or maybe their personal genetics. I'm not there to judge anyone, but I'm just saying I've seen people from all ethnicities with super long hair. So yeah, I do think like if you just take better care of your hair in general for everybody, and do they promote taking good care of your hair? Like the standard practices, like, oh, this is another thing. It's gonna get me in trouble with, no, I don't care if it gets me in trouble. This is my channel. If you're watching and you don't like my view, I don't know what to tell you. Change the channel. But okay, like the idea, like they say, you need to blow dry and straighten your hair. Like how is, or bleach your hair, or do all these crazy things. And then they're like, these are the women like with the healthy hair. I'm like, how is that healthy? You're damaging your hair. That's not healthy. It's been well known for a while that washing your hair less and using less heat on your hair is most protective to your hair, no matter your ethnicity. But recently, I think there's a lot of pushback on that. Like, because some salons are like, oh, like, we're going to lose clientele. And people do that. So recently, like, I've been seeing some people say, well, actually, it's like less damaging to your hair if you blow dry it. And you need to buy this $500 hair dryer. Yeah, see, leaving your hair alone, not messing around with it. And if you have it in braids, that's the perfect way to do it. Because if your hair is like everywhere, and if I put my hair in the hummus and it was going everywhere and like just flying in the wind, like I don't see how that's good for my hair. I mean, I just don't. But fantasy hair guys are like, yeah, your hair's flying everywhere. That's what we want to see. It's hilarious. I'm like, but they also think other things about hair. I can't exactly say it, but somebody told me the other day on a live stream about how they thought this thing that they wanted to do to people's hair was something that they thought women would want, which I can tell you, I don't know, like maybe porn stars want, but most people don't. And what else? Oh yeah, they also said, like I heard some of them say that like the women with the really long hair, like the floor length hair, that they had their husbands and boyfriends doing that to their hair. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's disgusting. That did not happen. They just take care of their hair. They don't do your fantasy thing. Like maybe on your fantasy forum, like you really believe that these women are doing that in some back room. And what's so far that they were looking, like they were looking for the content. They were like, where's the content where we can see that? And I'm like, it doesn't exist except for a few people in the X-rated industry that want to do that for you because they're laughing on the way to the bank. They don't do that. Like, and that's probably, I mean, maybe there's a few people that are interested in that, but then like all these people, they come online, they're into this and they're like, yeah, you must do that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's just no. I just think that's ridiculous. But I just kind of laugh at it. I'm not offended by it. I'm just like, do you really believe that? It's just like the guys, like with, and I'm not trying to get down on guys, like whatever your interest is, that's cool. I don't have anything against you, but it's just like the ones who think, oh yeah, like women want men to like have them touch their feet and try on lots of shoes all day. Like, I mean, really, sometimes it's a little absurd, just a little, just being able to differentiate between your fantasy and reality. And I think the same could kind of apply to any kind of media. So if you see something like in a magazine or on Instagram and it looks heavily edited, I think, like, just to me, this is just my viewpoint, maybe it's better that we're just able to say, well, that's like their interpretation of what's beauty is, and it's kind of like artistic, but that's not reality, because if you see these women in real life, they don't look like that either. Yep, that's a good tips. So yeah, it's funny. Some of the things like people say, but I'm just like, oh, okay, like, yeah. But I don't know. I'm just like, I just don't get that. Like, there's nothing I'm going to see on television, on social media, or in a magazine that's going to make me feel bad about myself. Because when I was young, my mom told me, you should feel good about yourself. You should know what you like and what makes you feel good within. And as Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel bad without their consent, without your consent. So like, to me, at the end of the day, I feel like this whole argument that social media makes us feel bad about ourselves is the same argument that they had about television and magazines like a few decades back, and the same argument that they had about magazines and books like a few decades before that. These arguments are as old as the world is round. So that's just my take on it. But I'm not trying to belittle that people have these struggles. I'm just saying, I think at the end of the day, it's how you would choose to interpret like your interaction with different media. And you have to be able to differentiate, and just honestly, like, things I think are beautiful are not even things that I see in mainstream media. So like, I actually would go on TikTok and find things that women that I thought had really beautiful hair, and it wouldn't be what was considered conventional. Like, that's just my viewpoint. So I don't know. Like, I have a different take on things. Like, I like retro looking clothes, and that's not what's considered trending and like exciting. So do what you like. Like, everybody should do what they like. That's my take on it. Hmm. Oh. Let's see. Bye.